I always thought love was something you felt, not something you earned or worse, something you got paid for. But that was before I met him. My name's Ella. I lived in a tiny apartment with my mom and 3 siblings. Every morning, I woke up to screaming neighbors and the smell of moldy toast. Money was tight. My mom worked 2 jobs, but it was never enough. I secretly skipped lunch at school just to save money for bus fare. One day, while waiting tables at a fancy event, a woman in diamonds whispered, "How'd you like to make $10,000 a week just being charming?" I thought she was joking. "What kind of charming?" I asked, laughing nervously. She handed me a card. "Let's just say, my son needs a friend." I almost threw the card away. But when I saw the eviction notice on our door that night, I held it tighter than I ever held hope. The next day, I called the number. A sleek voice answered, "Miss Ella, we've been expecting you." My heart dropped. I hadn't even told them my name. They sent a car. Like a real car, black and shiny, with leather seats that smelled like expensive silence. I'd never felt so out of place. When I arrived at the mansion, it looked like a palace. The chandelier alone could have paid for our rent for the next 5 years. I almost turned back. Then he walked in, tall, cold, and painfully gorgeous. "Is this the girl?" He scoffed. "She looks like she'd fall apart just holding my bag." I tried not to flinch, but his words stung. His mom looked at me, then at him. "Jaden, be nice. She's your new companion." "Companion?" he repeated, disgusted. "She's a stranger you're paying to fake laugh at my jokes." How pathetic is that? I stood frozen, but inside, I screamed. I wanted to run, but his mom smiled at me. "You'll get used to his attitude. Just pretend you're in love. The press is watching." Turns out, Jaden was a billionaire's only son. A moody, arrogant, camera-hating heir whose mom was desperate to fix his public image. That's where I came in. I almost threw the card away. But when I saw the eviction notice on our door that night, I held it tighter than I ever held hope. The first event was a disaster. I tripped on my heels, spilled orange juice on his suit, and accidentally called his dad his grandfather. He stormed off. Back at the mansion, I waited for him to yell. But instead, he smirked. "At least you're not boring." For 1 second, I saw warmth in his eyes. The next few weeks were a blur of fake kisses and real humiliation. Jaden mocked me non-stop, but sometimes, he'd go quiet and just stare into space. One night, I found him on the rooftop alone. "You okay?" I asked softly. He didn't answer, just said, "They all pretend. You're just the best at it." Something cracked in my chest. Was this broken boy lonely? For a second, I forgot the money. I just wanted to know him, the real him. "Why do you let them control you?" I asked gently. Jaden shrugged. "Because they pay for everything. And when you owe someone, you don't get to say no." He sounded so defeated, not like the arrogant jerk I first met. That night, for the first time, I forgot the paycheck. I just sat beside him. The next morning, I woke up to a tray of croissants and a note. "Thanks for not asking stupid questions." My heart did a flip. That afternoon, the paparazzi ambushed us outside the art gala. I panicked, but Jaden grabbed my hand and whispered, "Just look at me, like I'm the only one here." And I did. I stared into his hazel eyes, pretending to be in love. But the longer I stared, the less I had to pretend. Over the next few weeks, we grew closer. He taught me how to dance without stepping on toes. I taught him how to laugh without faking it. He opened up slowly. He told me how his dad abandoned them when he was 10. How money couldn't fix the silence in their house after that. "I was 16 when I got my first therapist," he said once. "My mom called it a business investment." He laughed bitterly. I just wanted to hug him. One night, during a fake date at a rooftop restaurant, he leaned in close and whispered, "You're not like the others. You see me, even when I hide." And then he kissed me. Not for the cameras, not for his image, just because he wanted to. And suddenly, the whole world faded out. I floated back to my room that night, breathless. I couldn't tell if I was dreaming or just falling, but I was falling. Hard. But reality hit the next morning. His mom barged into my room, furious. You were seen kissing him off camera. That wasn't part of the deal. I tried to explain, but she cut me off. You're not here to fall in love. You're here to fix him. Don't forget that, girl. I wanted to scream, but she was right. I'd signed a contract. Love wasn't part of the deal. Feelings would only ruin everything for both of us. So I pulled back. I avoided Jaden, gave short answers, pretended I was just tired. But every time I looked at him, it hurt like fire. He noticed. Did I do something wrong? He asked quietly. I shook my head. No, Jaden. I did, because I'd broken the only rule. Don't fall for him. Weeks passed. He got colder, quieter. He stopped texting, stopped showing up to fake dates. His mom threatened to fire me, but I didn't care anymore. Until one night, I saw him on the news. Billionaire heir Jaden West hospitalized after car accident. My heart stopped. I ran out the door barefoot. The hospital smelled like bleach and heartbreak. I wasn't family, so I had to sneak in. When I saw him lying there, bruised and broken, I sobbed. His mom saw me. She didn't yell this time. She just whispered, "He's been asking for you." My legs gave out. I hadn't realized how much I needed him too. I sat by his bedside, gripping his hand. "Why'd you do this?" I whispered. His voice was faint. I didn't care where I was going. You stopped being there. Tears slipped down my cheeks. I never meant to leave you. He smiled weakly. Then don't. In that moment, I promised him I'd never walk away again. He recovered slowly. I stayed. His mom stopped fighting it. Maybe she finally saw it too. This wasn't fake anymore. Not for either of us. I almost threw the card away. But when I saw the eviction notice on our door that night, I held it tighter than I ever held hope. He chuckled. Not funny, but the way he looked at me after. It was like we were the only two people left on Earth. We spent nights playing board games, eating vending machine snacks, talking about childhood dreams we never chased. I never knew healing could feel this soft. Then came the letter, a formal, legal envelope addressed to me. My heart dropped. "You've fulfilled your contract. Effective immediately. Your services are no longer required." I stared at the words like they were fire. I hadn't even thought about the contract in weeks. I was his, not some employee. Jaden found me crying in the hospital garden. "They fired you, didn't they?" he said. I nodded, unable to speak. "Then marry me," he said. I blinked. "What? Marry me?" he repeated. "No contract, no money, no press, just me and you. For real this time." My breath caught in my throat. It wasn't romantic. There were no flowers, no kneeling. Just two broken people choosing each other in the middle of chaos. And it was perfect. We eloped quietly. No cameras, no media. Just City Hall, a borrowed dress, and a pair of gold rings that meant everything and cost almost nothing. We moved into a tiny apartment far from his mother's mansion. No staff, no drivers, just us. And somehow, that tiny space felt more like home than anywhere else. We got part-time jobs. I worked at a bookstore. Jaden volunteered at a shelter. For the first time in his life, he felt real. But fairy tales don't last forever. One night, a knock at the door changed everything. It was Jaden's mom, and she wasn't alone. A lawyer stood beside her. "Your marriage is invalid," she said coldly. "He was mentally compromised. We're annulling it. Pack your things." Jaden stood up. No, his voice was strong. "You don't get to decide for me anymore. I love her. I chose her. You don't get to erase that." His mom's face went pale. "You're willing to give up everything?" He looked at me. "Everything I need is standing right here." I couldn't hold back tears. The lawyer sighed. "Then all your accounts will be frozen. You'll be removed from the inheritance." Jaden didn't even blink. "Good. I'm done being bought." That night, we curled up on our mattress on the floor, broke but free. He kissed my forehead. "I'd rather starve with you than dine with strangers." We lived off ramen and hope. I stitched my old jeans. He busked with a second-hand guitar. We were broke, but somehow, we were happy. One day, I found a letter in our mailbox. It was a job offer for me, a full-time position at a design firm. I hadn't even applied. I rushed to show Jaden, who smiled with pride. Told you you're amazing, but in the back of my mind, something felt off. At the firm, I noticed strange things. People stared at me too long. My boss seemed nervous around me. My workload was too easy. Something wasn't right. Then I saw an email on the shared printer tray from West Enterprises. It was addressed to my boss. They'd arranged the job. Behind my back, I felt sick. I confronted my boss. He stuttered. Your husband's mother made a donation, but it was for your own good. My own good? That night, I stormed home. Did you know? I asked Jaden. His face fell. No, but I bet I know who did. His jaw clenched. We drove back to the West Estate uninvited. His mother looked shocked. You're not welcome here. Stop trying to control her life, Jaden snapped. She's not your puppet. But his mom just smirked. You think love can survive without money? Just wait until real life crushes you. I glared at her. We've already survived worse. We left with our heads high. Back home, I quit the job. I wanted to earn my life, not have it secretly scripted for me. Jaden picked up part-time carpentry. His hands became rough. I worked long nights designing wedding invitations. We built everything from scratch with grit, not gold. But the pressure built. Our bills piled up. We argued more. We were tired. And sometimes I wondered, was she right? Were we just pretending this could work? One night, after a fight, I slept on the couch. I cried quietly. Then I felt a blanket wrap around me. Jaden whispered, I still choose you. In that moment, I realized love isn't about fairy tales. It's choosing each other, even when everything's falling apart. Especially then. The next morning, we applied for a government housing program. We didn't qualify, but the lady at the desk handed me a flyer. Design scholarship deadline tomorrow. Jaden pushed me all night. You have to apply. I cried while sketching my portfolio. I hadn't believed in myself in so long, but he did. A month later, a letter came. I'd been chosen. Full scholarship. A real chance. Jaden lifted me off the floor, spinning me like we'd won the lottery. I started school. He worked longer hours to support us. We barely saw each other, but we always left notes on the fridge. Proud of you. Miss you. Then, one afternoon, I came home early and found Jaden passed out on the floor. His fingers were bleeding. He'd been working non-stop. My heart shattered. I sat beside him, holding his hand. You can't pour from an empty cup, I whispered. You saved me, Jaden. Now let me save you. Jaden woke up slowly, looking pale and disoriented. Why didn't you tell me you were this exhausted? I asked. He just whispered, I didn't want to let you down. I couldn't stop crying. He had given me everything even when it cost him his health. Now it was my turn to carry the weight for a while. I reduced my hours at school and took on freelance work. Jaden took a break. At first, he protested, but I begged, please, let me love you back. Slowly, the spark returned to his eyes. We found joy in the smallest things, shared lunches, late-night movies, cooking noodles together like it was a five-star dinner. Months passed. My final project got selected for a national design expo. I couldn't believe it. You did this, I told Jaden, tears in my eyes. You believed. At the expo, I stood nervously beside my work. Big names from the industry walked by. And then someone paused. A woman in red heels and a sharp smile. I've seen your style before, she said. You're Ella West, aren't you? I froze. My husband's mother told me about you. My stomach turned. Oh no. She said you were just a gold digger. A phase. I clenched my fists. She was wrong. The woman smiled. Good. Because I think you're incredible. She handed me a card. We're hiring lead designers for a Paris-based firm. Full salary. Real work. Think about it. My fingers trembled. This was real. This was everything. I ran home and told Jaden. He looked stunned. Paris, I nodded. But only if you come with me. He was quiet for a long time. Then he smiled. I'll follow you anywhere, he whispered. Even if we have to start from zero again. We hugged so tight. I thought my heart would explode from love. We flew out a month later. Our apartment was small, but the view was breathtaking. We used a mattress on the floor and ate baguettes for dinner. I thrived at work. My designs made headlines. Jaden painted in the park, sold prints, and taught art to kids. We lived simply, but we were finally living. Then one morning, I woke up feeling dizzy. I brushed it off. But when it happened again and again, I bought a test. 2 pink lines stared back at me. I sat in the bathroom shaking. A baby. A baby. What would Jaden say? Would he freak out? Would we be enough? Suddenly, I felt terrified. That night, I handed him the test silently. He looked at it, then at me. For a moment, he just stared. Then he laughed, kissed me, and cried. "We're going to be parents," he whispered. "I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll figure it out. Together." That word together felt like the safest thing in the world. Pregnancy wasn't easy. I vomited in meetings, cried at commercials, and once almost fought someone for the last croissant. Jaden never complained. He massaged my feet every night. 9 months later, our daughter arrived tiny, screaming, and perfect. We named her Hope, because that's what she was. Proof that love born from lies could still become real. Holding her, I looked at Jaden and whispered, "Remember when I was paid to pretend to love you?" He smiled. "You never had to pretend." Not really. We were finally happy. But happiness doesn't mean immunity from the past. One day, an envelope arrived, gold seal, fancy ink. It was from Jaden's mother. He opened it slowly. His eyes darkened. "It's an invitation," he muttered. "To her wedding, to who?" I asked. He swallowed. "My father." I couldn't believe it. The same man who left them, who shattered their family. Now they were playing dress up like nothing ever happened. "I'm not going," Jaden said flatly. "Let them have their circus." But later that night, I caught him staring out the window, holding the letter again. Part of me wanted to burn it, but another part knew he needed closure. "Maybe you should go," I said softly. "Not for them, for you." So we flew back. I wore a modest black dress. He wore a navy suit and 1,000 regrets. Paris had changed us, but scars still remained. The mansion looked smaller than I remembered. Or maybe we'd just grown too big to fit in her world anymore. Either way, we didn't belong. His mother greeted us with a tight smile. "You look tired," she said. I smiled back. "You look like someone who still thinks she's in charge." She tried to hold our daughter. Hope screamed. I didn't stop her. "Maybe babies really do sense people's energy." "I guess she takes after her mother," I said. The wedding was cold, sterile. Jaden's father barely looked at him. At the reception, he finally approached. "So you grew up," he said, as if that excused everything. "I didn't grow up because of you," Jaden said calmly. "I grew up despite you," his father chuckled. Still dramatic. "Just like your mother." Jaden walked away without another word. I followed. I'd never seen him so quiet, so tense. I knew that pain, the kind that comes from years of silence. Later that night, his mother pulled me aside. "You've cost him everything," she hissed. "His money, his name, and now, his future." I stared her down. "No," I said. "You did that when you raised a boy to believe love was a transaction." "I just taught him how to feel again," she scoffed, but I didn't care. Because I saw Jaden walking toward me, Hope asleep in his arms. And in that moment, we had already won. We left the wedding early. No drama, no big exits, just peace. And peace is louder than any scream when you've been silent your whole life. Back in Paris, things changed. Jaden got his first solo art show. People started calling. Galleries wanted his work. Finally, he was being seen for who he was. I finished my internship with glowing reviews. The design firm offered me a permanent position with double pay. After years of struggle, we could finally breathe. One evening, we were watching Hope paint beside her dad when he whispered, "You know, I never really wanted to be a billionaire's boy." I looked at him. "What do you want to be then?" He kissed my hand. "A husband, a dad, and the man you chose even when I was nothing. Just when life seemed perfect, the past came knocking again, only this time It was mine. An old friend from high school messaged me out of nowhere. "Hey, you remember what we did back in senior year?" Someone's asking questions. My heart dropped. I hadn't thought about that night in years. I tried to brush it off, but then a reporter emailed me. "Ella West, care to comment on the school vandalism cover-up you were part of at 17? I stared at the screen in horror. How did they even find that? I was never charged. It was sealed, and it wasn't even my idea. I told Jaden everything. About the prank gone wrong, the property damage, the deal to keep it quiet in exchange for free labor and silence. "I'm not proud," I whispered. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he said, "We all have pasts, Ella. The difference is you owned yours." That's what matters to me. I wanted to hug him forever, but it wasn't over. The article dropped 2 days later. "Wife of rising art star has criminal past." It went viral overnight. Clients pulled deals. My job put me on indefinite leave. Jaden's show was postponed. All because of one stupid mistake I made when I was 17. I cried for hours. I ruined everything, I sobbed. Everything we built. But Jaden held me close and said, "Then we'll build again. From the ashes if we have to." Hope, too young to understand, wiped my tears with her tiny hands. "Mama sad?" she whispered. And in that moment, I knew I had to fight back. I posted a video. Raw, no makeup, no filter. I told my story, every painful detail. How I was scared, how I was sorry, how I changed. The internet exploded. Some people called me a fraud. Others praised my honesty. But one comment stuck out. She owned it. Something more people should do. A week later, a woman knocked on our door. "I saw your video," she said. "I run a youth program for at-risk girls. We need someone like you." I started volunteering, talking to girls who reminded me of who I used to be: angry, lost, unseen. And every time I told my story, it lost a little power over me. Jaden's art made a comeback too. One of his pieces, a portrait of me holding hope, went viral. It was raw, honest, and absolutely beautiful. Just like us. We were invited to speak on a podcast. "So, your love started as a business deal?" The host laughed. "Yes," I said, "but it became the truest thing I know." We walked out of the studio into a sunny street, hand in hand. "It's weird," I said. "The truth used to scare me. Now it sets me free." That night, Jaden took me to the bridge where he first told me I was different. He knelt down not with a ring, but with a worn sketchbook. "I never gave you a real proposal," he said. "So, Ella West, will you marry me again? Not for papers, not for contracts, just because I'm still crazy about you?" I cried so hard I couldn't speak. I just nodded as he slipped a tiny ring made from twine around my finger. "It's perfect," I whispered. And it was. Life felt full again. Not perfect, but real. Until one day, Jaden got a call from a prestigious gallery in New York. They wanted to fly him out. Alone. We stayed up all night talking. "This could change your life," I said. "But it would take me away from you," he replied. His loyalty broke my heart. "Go," I whispered. "We'll be fine. You deserve this." I kissed his hand. "Besides, I want Hope to see her father fly, so she knows she can too." He left the next week. Hope and I waved goodbye at the airport, holding back tears. "Papa big fly?" she asked. I nodded. "Yes, baby. Papa's going to soar." Weeks passed. Jaden was a hit. His portraits sold out. He was suddenly in demand: interviews, photo shoots, magazine covers. And for the first time, he looked tired. I called one night. He didn't pick up. Then another, and another. I told myself it was time zones, schedules. But the silence started to ache. Then I saw it. A photo online. Jaden at a party, glass in hand, arm around a woman in red, laughter frozen in pixels. My stomach turned. I wanted to scream. I texted him, "Call me, now." 2 hours later, he did. "It's not what it looks like," he said breathlessly. "Please, trust me." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, "If you've already left me in your heart, just say it." Silence. Then, "No, never. I'm just lost." He flew back the next day. No fancy suit, no press, just Jaden, exhausted and broken. I opened the door, arms crossed, but my heart was already softening. I let it all get to my head, he admitted. The attention, the applause, but none of it means anything if I come home to an empty bed. I'm not perfect, he whispered, but I'm yours, and I'd rather be a nobody with you than a star without you. I pulled him into my arms, sobbing. We took time off, moved back to our tiny flat, said no to interviews, said yes to waffles at midnight and watching cartoons with Hope on Sundays. But our peace didn't last long. One day, Jaden got a legal notice. What is it? I asked. His hands shook. It's from my mother. She's suing us, apparently. She claimed Jaden's trust fund had been manipulated under my influence. She wanted it frozen and custody of Hope. My entire world flipped upside down. We hired a lawyer. I wanted to scream in court. I raised that child. I changed her diapers while your son painted. Where were you? Jaden stood tall, facing his mother. You don't get to take from me anymore. Not money, not peace, and definitely not my family. The judge looked at the evidence. Letters from her lawyers, shady bank documents, my volunteer records. In the end, the ruling was clear. Custody remains with the parents. Jaden and I cried in the hallway. I'm sorry I ever let her near us, he whispered. She didn't break us, I said. She reminded us what we're made of. That night, we tucked Hope into bed and danced in the kitchen barefoot, twirling between the fridge and the sink. We survived again, I laughed. Like we always do, he smiled. Life felt calmer, but something tugged at me, a dream I'd buried deep. The design scholarship that saved me was about to end. I had to decide what came next. Jaden encouraged me to apply for a grant to open my own studio. You've got the talent and the story, he said. Now go make your mark. The night before the deadline, I got a call from a mysterious woman. I have information about your contract with the West family, she whispered. My heart raced. She claimed my hiring was never random, that Jaden's mother had set me up not just to control her son, but to spy on him. Betrayal stung. I confronted Jaden. Is it true? I demanded. He hesitated, then nodded. She wanted to know everything about me. About us. I felt sick. But Jaden's next words stopped me cold. But I never told her a thing. I protected you. Because I knew. You were different. We sat in silence for hours. The truth hurt, but so did the love that survived despite it. We're not pawns, I whispered. We're players now. The next day, I submitted my grant. Not just for me, but for the woman I wanted to be. Strong, independent, and unbreakable. Weeks later, I opened my own studio, a small, sunlit space filled with canvases and sketches. Jaden helped paint the walls. We were building a future from scratch. Then the unexpected happened. Jaden's father reached out with an offer to buy my studio, to help us. It felt like a trap. Jaden laughed bitterly. Like hell, I'm selling out. But the pressure mounted. His father had power, money, and influence. It was a chess game, and we were the pawns. One night, I found Jaden packing his bags. I'm going away, he said, for a while. To protect us. My heart shattered. Don't leave me. He kissed my forehead. I have to. If they win everything. But I'll come back. Promise. And then he was gone. Days turned into weeks. I managed the studio alone, taught Hope to say Papa on video calls, and counted every second until Jaden returned. But then, a scandal broke. A fake story painting Jaden as a reckless playboy. The press twisted his absence into betrayal. I fought back, but it was hard. One night, exhausted, I found an anonymous letter slipped under my door. You're next. Leave now, or lose everything. Fear crept in like a shadow. I called Jaden. They're coming for us, I whispered. Stay safe, he promised. I'm coming home soon. Hold on. His voice was steady, but I knew he was scared too. Finally, Jaden returned stronger, quieter. I've made a deal, he said, to end this. But it means giving up everything. Even you. My heart broke again. I love you, he said. But I'll walk away if it means protecting you and Hope. Tears blurred my vision. No, we fight. Together, always, he smiled faintly. Then let's show them what love really means. And for the first time, I believed we could win, not just survive. We gathered evidence, emails, contracts, secret recordings. Jaden's mother had underestimated us. We weren't just victims. We were warriors ready to reclaim our lives. Our lawyer filed a countersuit. The media caught wind. Suddenly, the story flipped. We became symbols of resilience, a couple who refused to be broken by money or power. One evening, Jaden and I stood before the courthouse steps. Reporters shouted questions, but we held hands and walked in together, stronger than ever. Inside the courtroom, his mother's icy stare couldn't freeze us. The judge listened to our truth, and for once, justice felt close, real. Weeks later, the ruling came down. Jaden's mother was ordered to pay damages and cease interference. Custody of Hope was fully granted to us. We cried tears of relief and triumph. The chains of the past were breaking. Freedom was finally ours, and we would never take it for granted. Back home, Hope ran to us, giggling. "Mama, Papa," her innocent laughter filled the room with light. Our family was whole. Our love was real. Jaden surprised me with a canvas, a painting of our journey, raw and imperfect. "This is us," he said. "Beautiful because it's real." I opened my studio's doors wide, welcoming young artists and dreamers. I shared our story openly, inspiring others to fight for their own happiness. One quiet night, Jaden held me close. "Thank you," he whispered, "for believing in me, in us." When no one else did, I smiled, tracing his scars, the marks of our battles and victories. "We chose each other," I said, "and that choice changed everything." Hope slept peacefully between us, her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. She was proof that love paid in truth beats love bought with money. We planned a small party, just close friends and family, a celebration of new beginnings, second chances, and the power of genuine love. As the sun set, I looked around at the faces filled with joy and hope. My heart swelled with gratitude. This was the life I dreamed of. Jaden took my hand, eyes shining. "Ready to keep fighting?" I nodded, smiling through tears. Always, the camera stayed outside. This life was ours, unfiltered, unedited, and utterly perfect in its imperfection. Our story wasn't just about being paid to love. It was about choosing love every day, against all odds. And as I looked at Jaden, I knew no contract, no money, no schemes could ever buy what we had built. Because real love, the kind that hurts, heals, and grows, is priceless.